Hello everyone, today we're going to be going around Walt Disney World and taking a look at all the different locations where they filmed different scenes from the Boy Meets World episode where they actually go to Walt Disney World. It was released back in 1996, so I think it's going to be kind of fun to take a look at what's still here and what's not here. Spoiler alert, there's a lot that's not still here. There's also a lot that is. So let's go take a look around and kind of recap the episode while we do it. Now, just in case you've never seen this episode of Boy Meets World, the basic plot line is Corey wants to get back with Topanga after being broken up for a few months, but she wins some contest that sends her here to Walt Disney World. So Corey decides that the best way to win her back is to actually, creepily follow her to Walt Disney World to try to win over her heart. Let's take a look at everything that happens in this episode that deals with Walt Disney World. So our first shot that's in this show that's actually filmed in Walt Disney World is going to be found over at Dumbo the Flying Elephant. Now, Dumbo the Flying Elephant currently sits over at Storybook Circus, but in the show, it was actually filmed over in actual Fantasyland. So let's head over to actual Fantasyland right now to see the locations that they pass while up in the air. When the episode was filmed, this was the location of where Dumbo the Flying Elephant sat during that time. Again, 1996. But while they're going through on Dumbo the Flying Elephant, you can see several different locations that are no longer around, including Snow White's Scary Adventures, which is now Princess Fairy Tale Hall. You can also see Mr. Toad's Wild Ride, which is now the location of the Many Adventures of Winnie the Pooh. In addition to that, you can also find the location which once sat 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea, which would close up in 1994, so 2 years before this episode. However, the lagoon sat there up until 2004. But in that location is now the Seven Dwarfs Mine Train. So our next shot is when the characters actually make their way over to Walt Disney World. Now, the first shot you see is an overhead shot of Epcot. I can't jump that high. However, in that area, you can find things like Horizons, Interventions, World of Motion, and Universe of Energy are all still around at that point. After that overhead shot of Epcot, we cut over to an angle of Cinderella Castle from here. However, at that point, this turret that's right in front of us was not there, so you got a clear view of the castle from this angle. Plus, it was taken a little bit further back from the Rose Garden, which is no longer around. Much like the show, still to this day, you can see the monorail passing Spaceship Earth and the Seas with Nemo and Friends. But of course, as you can see in the actual show, Boy Meets World, at that point it was called the Living Seas. So we have our first scene that takes place up in the backstage area dealing with the dolphins. A lot of the stuff here starts to take place with the dolphins, where Topanga and the other people who won the contest are in the backstage area learning all about these wonderful creatures. It's tough to see them right now. There's two of them swimming around. Oh, there's one. So our first shot of Corey and Sean inside the park was here at this planter. However, it was a completely different planter that they had in 1996. That one disappeared and then was replaced with nothing, and then was replaced with this one. Same thing for the fountain dead ahead here. The original fountain was here when the show was being filmed back in 1996, and then it disappeared. There was a different fountain here, and then this reproduction of the original fountain came out just a few years ago. In the next scene, you see Sean and Corey in a very long line. In the background, you can actually see these portholes right here. These are the portholes that are over by where the extraterrestrial used to sit. Now it's actually over here where nothing sits at all. But that's when they're actually in line for a churro. We then cut to Sean and Corey waking up on a log from Splash Mountain, which closed up earlier this year. It is being transformed over into Tiana's Bayou Adventure right now. But there are still two spots you can actually see from that episode. One is the very top where they actually came down, like historically inaccurate though, because they wake up in the log, they look at each other and they start freaking out, and then they go down the hill. In reality, it was like 10 minutes later in the ride. And then it's down here where you see Sean and Corey come around, and Sean asks if they can find a towel anywhere. The next shot shows down Main Street, USA with the Emporium. Pretty much nothing's changed here. Only difference, Christmas decorations, because it's Christmas time right now. Okay, in the next scene, we see Sean and Corey running down this bridge right here to get to this area right here to see the beast, trying to find out where Topanga is. This is actually where the old Rose Garden used to be, which they're standing in front of the show. And obviously it's just not around anymore. It was closed when they did the hub expansion here. Also, if you take a look in the background of the show, you can also see that the old Tomorrowland sign is there instead of the Tomorrowland sign that's here right now. During the pursuit of Topanga, we see Corey and Sean make their way to just about right here with Regal Eagle Smokehouse in the background, except for at that point it would have been Liberty Inn, but they encounter Goofy, who sends them over to Tomorrowland of all places. So Goofy apparently knows that Topanga is over here in Tomorrowland in a completely different park. But they go under this bridge right here. Our next location is here at the Morocco Pavilion at Epcot, where we see Lips and Topanga make their way right over here where they approach a cast member who's actually Corey in disguise. This is probably the only spot that's completely unchanged for the most part. However, you can see the remnants of a sign that used to be here. You can also see that in the episode in the background. We get to a scene where we see Corey is drawing a picture of Topanga. Lips is there too. But that drawing was done somewhere right around this area. We don't have an exact location, but from looking at the background, you can see that International Gateway is kind of in the background, along with this dock over here for the friendship boats. So it's somewhere right around here in the France Pavilion. The restaurant that Topanga and Lips eat at is right here at the Coral Reef Restaurant. I don't have reservations, so we can't get in right now, but they do sit in front of the giant aquarium. It's the same aquarium that's over at the Living Seas, or now the Seas with Nemo and Friends. Let's go take a look. When we see Topanga leaving Coral Reef Restaurant all flustered and upset, she's actually leaving the actual queue line for the Living Seas, or now the Seas with Nemo and Friends. And finally, we have yet another area that's backstage. Of course, we can't get backstage. Oh, here comes the dolphin, though. Where we then have Corey along with Dana from Step by Step sit around and talk to each other about a sad dolphin. But Topanga overhears it, which makes the next scene a little more romantic. Our final scene from the episode is, ironically, this area just opened up yesterday, 2 days ago when this video goes live. But we see Corey and Topanga running out. Interventions is in the background, and then also you can find the electric umbrella over here. They eventually make their way up on top of the fountain, which is right where this currently sits. And while they're up there, they are finally brought back together. Aww. It's one of their longest scenes in the entire episode that takes place in one single location. At the same time, pretty much everything that's in the background is no longer there. And that's going to conclude this video for today. There's so many different episodes of TV shows that have been filmed here at Walt Disney World. Let me know in the comments, which show would you like me to cover next with a special episode? And if you're wondering, you can watch this specific episode of Boy Meets World over on Disney Plus as well. It's season 3, episode 21. So make sure you check that out as well. As always, if you're not already subscribed, make sure you subscribe, and we'll see you once again tomorrow.